the last 3 months, because of COVID-19, schools have been shut. I hope that these materials that we present today will be beneficial to students in their final year of secondary or high school.
You are all welcome to today's biology class, and today we are going to continue from where we stopped during our last lesson. During our immediate past lesson, we were introduced to the topic reproductive behavior, and under reproductive behavior we define what courtship is. We learned about the importance of courtship, and as well learned about the various types or forms of courtship behaviors. And the courtship behaviors that we listed that day are pairing, display, territoriality, and seasonal migration. And on that day, we learned about pairing, which has to do with two mating partners coming together, isolating themselves from a total group that they belong, and forming their own sex mates to themselves and for themselves, either temporarily or for life. Today we are going to continue from there, having looked at examples in termites that day and as well human beings. Today we are continuing with the second type or form of courtship behavior, which is display. And we are going to define what display is and also learn or give examples of display. And under this display, we are going to be exposed to how it is being done or carried out, and what are the responses that show that both parties are ready for, or one of the parties is not ready for mating, for instance. So we are all welcome to today's class. Today, let's start with the meaning of display. What is display? Display is an elaborate process involving a series of fixed patterns of movement or attractive exhibitions between mating partners. Each of these movements or exhibitions is a response to some action of the partner and triggers, in turn, a pre-programmed movement patterned by the partner. The partners must respond correctly to each other's display. If any performance of the display is to end in mating. What this place is telling us is display is a detailed signals, detailed laid down procedures or ways or patterns that animals show, and that is being showed step by step and accordingly, which means no step is going to be what? Passed or jumped to without the next immediate step being followed. Everything must be followed accordingly before mating is achieved or before mating is carried out. Exhibitions simply means showcases, to be able to showcase something. In other words, this display is the showcasing of all the mating strategy or signals or patterns or behaviors or attributes or characteristics that will end in mating. And when it is done, the partner that firstly starts this is to be what? Responded in like manner by the partner that the display is done towards. For instance, if it is a male animal that displays all its attribute according to its way of behavior reproductively, then it means the female must in turn respond back in like manner that will end in mating. If it is not responded in like manner, or any of the two does not respond in like manner, it means mating is not going to take place. For instance, in the case of human beings, a man goes out in the morning, on returning back, buys things on his way, brings back to his wife at home. On seeing this, the wife knows, for instance, that this is one of the ways that is being what? Followed for mating to be achieved. Sometimes the man buys these things, comes back home smiling, bathes himself, and wears some things or clothes that look attractive in the case of the man. And the way the man talks, the tonation is going to be a soft one, and the words that are to be used are going to be what? Romantic, that attracts the what? Woman to himself. In the opposite sense, the woman also, if she is the one in need, does the same thing. Gets herself ready by bathing herself, perfuming herself, wearing the necessary clothes, and getting the necessary environment conducive. If these things are not done correctly, most oftenly it doesn't end up in mating. There would be an what? Counteracting sign that will tell the other partner that mating is not what? Possible now or today. So this is how it is done. Types of display. Display can take any of the following forms. Dancing, in the case of human beings. Sometimes human beings dance as a way to display how they are what? Attracted towards the other partner, and how they what? Need mating at that moment. For instance, in our villages and even in the cities today, dancing competitions are being what? Organized. And at the end of the day, the best dancers are chosen either by the female or by the male. Secondly, singing. In the era where there were no technology as they are now, for instance, handset, our grandparents and even some of our parents at the moment, when they were going to see our moms or they are going to see our dads, Nothing like calling. When they approach the compound that they are going to, especially the men, they do sing a specific song, or they sing specific songs at a certain time. And the lady that her man comes to visit will now understand what the singing is all about. Another one is croaking by the toad. The next one is nest making by birds. For instance, production of odor by female to attract the male. And lastly, the symbolic feeding of the female to attract the male. This is one of the displays, as an instance, that is being carried out by lizards, which is done by the what? Male lizard, which is referred to as the agama lizard. What happens here is the agama lizard displays its bright color and approaches the female lizard. The female lizard cups her back and lifts her tail vertically. The male then wags his tail sidewards or upwards, and at the same time nods his head and grips or holds the female lizard by the neck and pushes his tail under her body so that their cloacas or physical reproductive organs come into contact for copulation to take place. So this is what happens in the case of lizard when it is what? Displaying itself, that is the male, which is referred to as the agama lizard. The bright color of the agama lizard is one of the advantages the agama lizard uses to make sure that the female comes to itself so that mating is what? Achieved at the end of the day. If you observe close to where you are, you might have seen, or you are going to see, how these lizards demonstrate what we have just learned. Secondly, display in birds. In domestic fowls, for instance, the male fowl called cock dances towards the female fowl called the hen. The cock lowers the wing on the side way from the hen and dances in staggering manner sideways towards the hen, beating the lowered wing against the body and legs as it moves. Then the hen runs away if it is not ready, that is, if the hen is not ready for courtship. If the hen is ready for courtship, the cock chases the hen and overtakes or overpowers the hen and mounts on her back and pecks on her head, that is, hold the head of the hen while it stoops down, that is, the hen will now go down and raises her tail feather, exposing her cloaca. Then mating will now take place. This is how it is done as well in birds, and in this case, domestic fowl. The next one is the example of how the domestic fowl do mate. You see how they are. The cock is on the hen, and the hen has lowered down her body or herself, and you can see from the diagram below how their cloacas have now mated, and the rest is reproduction. The next thing we are going to look at is display in human beings. Human beings carry out series of display in order to attract the opposite partners. Some of the displays are dancing to musical instruments, singing with melodious voices. This is mostly done by the ladies when they want to attract a man. They would fine-tune their voices and sing such that the voice sounds attractive and what? Welcoming by the man that is being what? Chased. Another one is facial expression. Some of us do know that when we smile, it makes the opposite gender that we are so much in love with to be attracted to us. So this is one of the ways that we would display our reproductive behavior by what? Laughing or smiling or trying not to be moody when we are close to our partners that we want to be attracted more to. The next one is beautiful and attractive dressing. Before now and even at the moment, many of us have known that one of the good ways to attract opposite genders to ourselves as human beings is to dress neatly from inside to outside. It could be trimming of the hair by the males, trimming of our nails. Make sure that we are what? Always neat, take our baths seriously, brush our teeth, and make sure that our clothes are washed and ironed. Our shoes are not dusty, rather they are always polished. The next one is makeup, mostly by the female, and use of highly perfumed creams. This one is mostly done by the females, but today even the male are not left out. You see us dressing up, picking up our what? Makeup kits, and then trying to what? Make our face such that it looks the same with our clothes that we are going to be wearing, and at the same time using creams that are highly perfumed that could be perceived from a distance when we pass. This method or this display attribute has been used by many and has been yielding what? Good output for the people that have been using it. The next one is the use of powerful body perfumes and spray. When we are through with dressing up, we pick up our spray, different types and perfumes, and spray ourselves with this, so that when we pass close to people, or so that when we pass close to the person we want to notice our presence, the person notices how we are what? Giving out the sense that we have on ourselves. So these and many other display are the what? Different types of displays that are exhibited by human beings. So with this, we have come to the end of today's lesson, which we have learned about display. And under display, we learned example like the one of Agama lizard and the one of the birds. And we've also learned about how display is carried out by human beings. I am with this drawing the curtain of today's lesson till we meet during our next class, where we are going to be looking at the other forms of courtship behavior that are left. For instance, territoriality and seasonal migration. Thank you and God bless you.